1858, he started it off with these words: "A house divided against itself cannot stand." A house divided against itself cannot stand. Now, Lincoln was addressing the newly formed Republican Party at a convention. But he was also speaking to the nation. Because there was something going on in our country at that time. We were a divided country. And if you remember from that speech, he makes the statement that we may be divided, but our nation will stand, but it will not stand remaining divided. Now, Lincoln, as I said, he was addressing the nation, but that same statement can be said about families. If you want a family that's going to last, it can't be divided. It has to be united, and it has to be strong. See, if you want a strong family, one that can withstand all that threatens to tear it apart, you have to work on developing and maturing your family. You have to work on developing and maturing your family. In Psalm 133, verse 1, it says this: "Behold how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell in unity." Now, it actually ends with this: "There God commands his blessing, life forevermore." Behold how pleasant it is when brothers dwell in unity. There God commands his blessing, life forevermore. So this morning I want to start by defining what is a family. What is a family? What is the picture God created for us that is family? Because God had a design for family. And so we see that in Ephesians 5, starting in verse 33, and we're going to go all the way to chapter 6, verse 3. So you can read with me. "So again I say, each man must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. Children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord, for this is the right thing to do. Honor your father and mother. This is the first command with a promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you, and you will have a long life on the earth." Now, I heard this verse a lot as a kid. Anybody else? Does anybody else relate with that? Yeah. Honor your father and mother. Why? So you'll live long. It's a promise, but it's also a warning. I think that's how my dad said that. But in this passage, we see what is the picture of a family. You got a husband, you have a wife. They come together, and what happens? They become a mom and a dad when they have a kid. And according to the Bible, this is supposed to keep happening. Eventually, they raise those kids, they become successful at life, and they get married and have more kids. And now, suddenly, you have grandkids and grandparents. You get uncles and aunts. This is how God describes family. See, all of these things together form a family. Now, I don't have to enlighten you on this, but there's been an assault on family. And it started all the way back in Genesis. It wasn't just with the invention of TV. It wasn't after Leave It to Beaver ended that we had the assault on family. No, this started all the way back in Genesis. We see Adam and Eve. We see their kids, Cain, Abel, and then Seth comes along. It started all the way back there. See, God, He has an idea about what family is. And He is the originator of our idea of family. It was Him that said, you know what? It's not good for man to be alone. I'm going to make him a helper. And when I bring these two together, I know something's going to happen. The kid thing just did not pop out. Ooh, fluffy. Sorry, ADD. No, for real. It's hard. Go away, go away, go away. There we go. Go down. Where was I? Yes, God is the originator of family. I'm a children's pastor, okay? God is the originator of family. It was His idea. Kids didn't just pop out after sin showed up. No, that was built into what God was originally creating. Now, yes, labor was less fun after the fall, as my wife will happily tell you. Less fun after the fall, but having kids was still in the plan. Family was still in the heart of God. You can see God's ideal. It shows up in Genesis 1, 27 and 28, Genesis 2, 18, Genesis 2, 21 through 25, Genesis 4, 1 through 2. All of these places are very early on in our scripture. Family has been an idea in the heart of God. It's God's design. God designed us humans to have family. But God's design has been marred by poor choices. Notice, as I said earlier, Adam and Eve, they made a mistake in the garden. And that choice marred God's design. You see the effects of their choice show up in their family. It shows up in their kids. See, God had an idea. He had a design. He originated family. But sin marred His design. But hear me and hear this very clearly. God has always made a way for man to get back to God's original design through Jesus. God has always made a way for us, humanity, to get back to His original design, and that is through Jesus. No matter how messed up family becomes, there always is a way back through Jesus. Does that mean it's going to be easy? No. Does that mean it's going to be not painful? No. Jesus had to die on the cross. Ow. Ooh. But there's always a way back through Christ. Through the power of Holy Spirit at work in our lives. There's always a way back to the design. It's our way back machine, Jesus. See, some families, the parents, they get a divorce. Some may only have a dad. Some may only have a mom. Some may be raised by their grandparents. This stuff happens. And it's a marring of God's design for family. Sometimes this happens because we make mistakes, because we don't do things right. Sometimes it's tragedy. That's what sin does. It causes hurt in the heart. But God's design for family is a whole and complete picture. And He always has a way of getting us back through Jesus. God still makes a way for us to be in families. We got Lisa Marie. She's adopted into our Franklin family. Not legally, but she's adopted in. She's a part of our family. Holidays show up. Lisa Marie needs to be there. Birthdays happen. Lisa Marie. Why? God made a family. She came here with the military, didn't have anybody, started showing up at church. She got invited to, I can't remember, what holiday was it? 4th of July? I don't remember. I don't know. She showed up at one of the holidays. We invited her. We're like, hey, I don't know if you have anybody to hang out with. Come and hang out with us. And that happened for a long time now. Until finally, Lisa Marie's a part of the family. I call her Auntie Lisa. That's what my kid's going to call her, Auntie Lisa. Why? She's a part of the family. What's going on there? God is bringing family to people. That's His heart. That's what He desires, is to bring family, to make a way for us to be in family. Sometimes what can mar family, or some of the ways that sin can mar family, is through ignorance. Whether that's us just not knowing. We didn't know what we were doing. We had no example. We have no information. And so by ignorance, we mar the family. Sometimes that ignorance also shows itself by not knowing what the actual design is. See, sometimes we don't have the tools, and other times we don't even know what we're building. I always love Legos. They're quite fun. You buy your nice little Legos, you get the nice little box, right? Now, I don't care if it's Legos or an IKEA set or a car. If you're trying to fix something and you don't know what it's supposed to look like when you start, and you don't have the instruction manual, it's probably not going to look right when you get it done. But in life, some of us aren't told that, hey, this thing right here, the instruction manual, that's this. You want to know what you're supposed to be building, what it's supposed to look like at the end? You got to look in here. But not everybody starts off knowing that. And as society is continuing, guess what? Less and less people know that. Which is why we see more and more issues in families. Because either we don't know or we don't practice. Last thing that sin does that can mar families is barrenness. Now, I'm not saying sin being the couple's fault. I'm saying sin entered the world, death and sickness entered through sin. Sometimes that happens. And guess what? That really hurts the heart. I think about Tony and Rachel Hawk, pastors at Church on the Rock. They weren't able to have kids. There's pain there. There's a lack of family. But at the same time, guess what? They parented a generation at Church on the Rock, and even teenagers outside of there. My wife looks at them and goes, man, they were huge in helping me grow in my life. So much of what I learned came from Tony, came from Rachel. So much of what makes me successful in my marriage, my wife says most of that came from them. Their example, their fathering, their mothering. See, God creates families. He fixes, He restores through Jesus' work. So I want you to understand this. No matter how messed up family is, there is a way. God created us to be in families, and He will always make a way to put us back in one. Now, there are some key characteristics and values that strong families have. There are some key characteristics and values that strong families have. And we want to build those into our family. Because as we build those things in there, we protect ourselves, we hedge ourselves from a lot of the marring stuff that happens to family. I need a volunteer. All right, Azariah, you're first one with your hands up. Come on up here. Don't worry, you will not be the last. Okay, I need you to put on these gloves. Now, when we talk about characteristics and values, we are talking about something precious to the family. We're talking about something precious. And the first characteristic and value is God being at the center. You need help there? Do you have 3 or 4? There you go. All right. What I need you to do is I need you to pick up this one right here. Now, step a little this way and hold it so everybody can see it. You got to kind of hold it on the side. Here, we'll use the flashlight. That helps people to see. Can you guys see it? What does this thing look like? It looks like a diamond, right? These are pretty valuable and precious. Ooh. Now, this diamond here, I'll let you hold the flashlight. You can make it sparkle and shine all over the ceiling. There you go. Have fun with it. So, this diamond represents God being at the center. It's pure. A family that has God at the center is aiming for a pure family spiritually. When God is at the center, He transforms everything. Now, what does this look like? Well, a family that has God at the center, prayer is a priority. The reading, the Word of God is a priority. Church is a priority. Not consuming, but being at church, serving, being a part of a family of God. That's a priority. Godly character is a priority. And I'm sure you could list off a bunch of others that go down there. I got a few more things, so I got to rush. But God has to be at the center. That is the first characteristic of a strong family, is God at the center. All right. You can put it down, take the gloves off. I'm going to need another volunteer. Ooh. All right. Go for it, Cameron. He beat you all, kids. So you can put the gloves on. All right. So this next one is love abounding. The next characteristic of a strong family is love abounding. Now, if you were going to guess which one of the stones Cameron's going to pick up, does anybody have a guess which one it's going to be? Red. Ah, you guys are smart. The red one.
Actually, I was going to pick that one,
Oh, it's definitely the red one. Here, you want a flashlight to make it shine? That way they can see how bright it is. Ooh. You got to hold it a little differently. Hold it on the sides. There you go. There, perfect. You're kind of getting it. Sort of. So, love abounding, what does that look like? That looks like affirmation. Not what I do, but who I am. So in Proverbs 16:24, it says this, kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. See, strong families, they speak in a positive and affirming way, and doing so in order to express love towards one another. They speak in a positive and affirming way. And doing so express love towards one another. What else does love abounding look like? It looks like appreciation for what I do or gratitude. It looks like communication. Now, we talked about this in youth, so teenagers, I'm expecting you to be able to say these along with the adults. We talk about the 5 love languages. These are 5 ways that we can communicate love towards people. What are they? Does anybody know? Okay, acts of service, I heard one. Giving, I heard that one. Quality time. Words of affirmation. Physical touch. Did we get them all? Yay. Huh? No, there's definitely 5. So acts of service. You got physical touch and closeness. You got words of affirmation, gift giving, quality time. These are 5 love languages. These are ways that people communicate and receive love. Do we all need all 5 of them? Yes. Do some of them we need more than others? Yes. But strong families communicate love and they communicate honor. These are what make strong families. These are values that make it love abounding, God at the center. All right, you can put it down. I need another volunteer. All right, Bella. You were quick on the draw. All right, next value. This one is learning. Guess what? Learning never stops. Learning never stops. I don't care how old or how young you are. Learning never stops. It's been a learning curve having a newborn. Oh, boy. Boy, boy, boy. Oh, boy. I've learned that Anya right now only smiles for one reason and one reason alone. I just pooped. It's the only time she smiles. I just pooped. As soon as she poops, she just sinks in this little smile, and you're just like, yep. Way to go, kid. Words of affirmation. All right, you can pick up the circular green one. Pick whichever one you want. Awesome. So, learning, it's one of these treasures that we have as a family. We learn values, we learn skills, we learn responsibility. They're all learning. All these things we gain from families. Families are supposed to give us a safe place to learn and make mistakes. Sometimes it doesn't feel as safe, but at least it's safer than the real world. It's a place for us to learn. It's a place for us to grow. Much of what we learn is learned at home. And as the saying goes, more is caught than taught. Why do we do Generational Sunday? so your kids can watch you worship. That's part of the reason why we do Generational Sunday. Simply that right there, so they can watch you worship. So you have something to talk about as a family on your way home. Why do we do it? Because more is caught than taught. Learning, it's a key value. All right, you can put it down. All right, yes, you've been like on the ball. Come on. All right, loyalty. That's our next value, loyalty. Now, loyalty inside of family looks like family sticking together. Family sticking together. Now, when I think about loyalty, the one I think about is always the purple one. Ooh. Do you like purple?
I like purple a lot.
Yeah, it's my favorite color too. Here's a purple one there, if you want to grab that one.
Probably gonna grab it.
That's the pink one.
That's a pink.
Yeah, that's definitely pink. All right, you can hold it up. Hey, you want a flashlight so you can make it shine? Woo! So loyalty, it's family sticking together. At the end of the day, all we have is God and each other, and we don't give that up. That's all we have at the end of the day is God and each other. You look at Nehemiah. What does Nehemiah do when they're building the wall back around Jerusalem? He sticks them to build as a family and to guard and fight as a family. Why? Because when your house is right next to the section of wall you're building, you're going to build a good wall. And when the bad people come, if you're not on guard, they're hitting your house first. So if you're having to build the wall around your house and guard the portion of wall that is next to your house, you're going to build a good wall. And you're going to keep that thing secure. See, loyalty to family. It's an important value of a good family. You shining in people's eyes?
No. I was hit for my little kitty to catch.
All right, well, keep it up a little bit towards the ceiling. There you go. All right, teamwork together. It's another part of loyalty. It's working together as a team. Together, everyone accomplishes more. We've all heard that phrase about teamwork. All right, I need another volunteer. That's right, I got you. What's your name? Ava, come on up, Ava. You were fast on the draw. I don't think these are going to fit you. So, which one are you got to grab? Let's look here. The blue one. You can grab the blue one. Do you want to hold the flashlight and make it shine? All right, just try not to shine in people's eyes. That works. Going down, that kind of works. We're close. All right, so blue, leadership. Every family has to have a leader. This person sets the direction, the vision. Now, when you're going to the grocery store, when I was growing up, Mom was the leader. You followed Mom. If you didn't follow Mom, you were going to get lost. And my mom was not one of those people that really worked to keep track of you. No, the one time we were not following well, and we lost track of her, and she intentionally hid. Now, I will let you know something after that. You kept better track of Mom. Now, I've shopped with Mom and as an adult, and she still does that. She's not paying attention to whoever she's shopping with. She has a vision and a mission for what she has to do, and you have to follow. Now, a good leader, they know what's going on. They know which aisles you're supposed to be going to. They know where stuff's at. They have a vision. There. I'm going to hold that. There we go. You can just hold it like that. So they have a vision. They oversee the building of the family. They oversee the administration of resources. They take responsibility. These are all things that leaders do that build strong families. All right, I need another volunteer. All right, come on, Anna. Good job. Thank you. You're going to pick the pink one. Yeah, you can skip the gloves, I guess. The big pink one. Woohoo! If you want to try to do the light, keep it on the roof, please. I like watching all the adults go, All right, laughter. Guess what? That's what this one is. Laughter. Proverbs 17:22. Laughter is medicine to the bones. A glad heart makes a happy face. A broken heart crushes the spirit. So as I said, that's out of Proverbs. You got Proverbs 17:22. You got Proverbs 15:13. Laughter. One of the things a strong family has is they laugh a lot. My family has this saying, we're making a memory. What does that mean when we say that? We are laughing because something went wrong. That's what making a memory means in our family. Right now, this is not fun and it's not funny, but it will be. We bring this one up all the time. We made a memory here. One Thanksgiving, my mom made gravy, and it turned out to be what we would later call salt gravy. It was the saltiest thing you've ever tasted in your life. I mean, you put that in your mouth and you just go, ooh. And we have a rule in our family. You don't make fun of the person that cooks. Otherwise, you're cooking next time. So after we poured the gravy on the mashed potatoes and stuff and we took a bite, it was like, oh! I remember my Grandpa Herman, oh, this is so salty! But that's just the way I like it. He did not want to cook Thanksgiving next year. We made a memory. Hey, can you pass the salt? I mean the gravy. We still remember it. We still laugh about it. Families, they laugh together. Strong families, they find things to laugh about, whether it's truly funny stuff or whether it's memories. They enjoy spending time together. It's part of a value of a strong family. All right, you can put that down. I need one last final volunteer. All right, Samson, come on. You're going to grab the square one. Yeah, this one right here. Perfect. Ooh. Okay, it's a rectangle. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. It's another value of a strong family. Forgiveness. Not holding and keeping offenses. You see in Matthew 18, the parable of the unforgiven servant. Parable of the unforgiven servant. What happens? God wants us to forgive. It's one of those key things in families, is admitting you're wrong, asking for forgiveness, granting forgiveness. It's a lot easier for us as believers to do this because we always get to remember Christ. We remember what we did to him and how he forgave us. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying we have an easier time at this for the sole fact that we get to think about how much he forgave us and how, man, if he can forgive me for all that, I can forgive this person for this. But forgiveness is a key value of strong families. All right, you can put it up. Thank you, Samson. All right, so we got our values. So strong families have these values, but they also have some tools that are very, very important for building a strong family. So what are the tools? You have a confident leader. One of the tools that's necessary to build a strong family is you have to have confident leadership. Confident and competent leadership. You need that to build a strong family. That doesn't mean every leader's perfect. That doesn't mean every leader makes all the right decisions. But if you want to build a strong family, one of the tools you have to have is good leadership. You have to have leadership going on. It doesn't matter if you're the dad or the mom. You have to have leadership. I look at my wife and I go, what time you want to feed the kid? That's her job, telling me what time that is. I will hold the kid. I will keep the kid happy until the next feeding. You're the one that does the breastfeeding, not me. What time you want the kid to eat? I will buy you time to take a nap, get food, go to the bathroom, whatever you want. What's going on there? She's leading the family. This is the time the kid needs to be fed next. Leaders get us ready. They help prepare us. Leaders get us ready. They help prepare us. It doesn't matter if we're really small or we're a teenager. Moms and dads, they help prepare us. My mom, we laugh about it, but if you ever went somewhere and were cold, that was your own fault. Because every time we were leaving the house, she's always like, you need a jacket. We're going to the movie theater. Don't forget your jacket. Mom, it's never cold. But it might be. She's preparing us. She prepared us. She always made sure we were prepared for whatever was going on. That's what good leaders do. They prepare. Leaders help us with timing. When to do something. When to put your toys away. When to brush your teeth. When to put your pajamas on. When to go to bed. These are all things that leaders lead us in. If families have leaders, they also have followers. Guess what? If you're a kid, teenager in here, you're a follower. And guess what? Mom and dad were once followers. They know what it's like. You ain't the first one. If there's going to be a leader, there's a follower. And good leaders are people that have learned how to be good followers. Communication, that's another tool. We communicate love. We communicate our values. But it's also an important tool for building a strong family. Communication is so important. Now, a lot of people, when you poll them, what is the thing you struggle most with in your marriage and family? They will say communication. I disagree with them. Because usually we are great communicators when we are upset. We make sure everybody in the house knows why we are upset. We make sure they're well aware that we are upset. What we struggle with is getting what's in our heart out so that the other person can understand it and allow it to touch their heart. See, communication takes both of those things. You have to be able to get what's inside of you out. And if you're the other person, you have to allow what has been brought out to touch your heart. That's part of communication. Good communication requires there to be established ground rules on how they will communicate. Communication requires that messages are being sent, that messages are being received, and messages are being responded to. Now, those of you who have ever used text messaging, you send it, and sometimes you don't know if the other person's read it or not. That happened this morning. My dad at 1 something in the morning sends a text to James Fontenot and I and goes, guys, I'm sick. You got the service. Well, I showed up at church, started getting ready for kids ministry and all the things I do for setup, and 7:20 rolls around, and that's when I look down at my phone, and my dad sends me a text that goes, "Did you read my message?" My response back was a question mark. What message? I don't see one. Click, click. Oh, there's a group chat. See, you got to send the message, then the message has to be received. And it has to be responded to. It requires a response. No response was given, therefore, he sent another message. Now, James was better than me. He responded probably when he woke up. I didn't look at my phone. But it's communication. And part of communication is continuing to communicate until we hear each other. We continue to communicate until we hear each other. We cannot have strong relationships unless we're good at getting what's going on inside of us out so that the other person can then allow it to touch their heart. And one of the secrets of communication, the issue is never the issue. Which leads us to conflict resolution. All families have conflict. Conflict happens to the best of us. We disagree at some point. If you never disagree, then you're in a relationship with yourself. And even sometimes I disagree with myself. But good, strong families, they're going to have disagreements. Things are not going to be seen the same way. You could be seeing it from a different perspective. Looking at the same thing, but from a different angle, from a different facet. Disagreements, they're going to happen. Conflict's going to happen. But strong families develop tools for working through conflict. Now, every family is going to address conflict in a little bit of a different way because we're all different. However, there's some key things. Number one, you don't want to fight to hurt each other. Good conflict resolution is when in conflict, don't try to hurt the other person. My wife and I, we made an agreement before we got married. If we get into a conflict, there is no name calling. That is off limits. Anyone does that, we do the timeout. Did you just do the name calling? Yes? I'm sorry, can you forgive me for calling you a name? I forgive you. All right, time in. You have to set these limits so that you're not intentionally hurting the other person. Sometimes my wife, she gets a little hot-headed and gets unhappy. We had to put another thing in there so people don't get hurt. She can go, time out. I need 10 minutes to go think by myself before I say things that I'm going to regret. What's going on there? We are creating tools in our conflict resolution so that we don't hurt each other. Good families develop conflict resolution. And they work to find a solution to a problem. They work to find a solution to a problem. We're trying to figure out either what the problem is or what went wrong that has now hurt the heart. A lot of times that requires asking good questions, both of yourself and of the other person. What are you afraid of? What about the situation's causing fear? What about the situation hurt you? What did I do wrong? How did I make you feel? Conflict resolution. Another tool is good crisis and stress management. All families experience stress. All of us do. All of us experience stress. Now, recognizing you or another person is in stress is an important part of successfully managing stress. When my wife went into labor at 6 p.m. on Wednesday night and didn't have the kid until 5:06 in the morning on Friday, there was very little sleep had by many. I don't do good with very little sleep. And so, the first night with the kid is spitting up all this amniotic fluid still, like gurgles up. And so, mom's asleep, and I'm sitting there with the little squeegee sucker thing going, as the bubbles just go bloop, 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 bloop. So I didn't get much sleep either that night. We're leaving the hospital. I look at Chris and I go, I am tired. I have slept every opportunity I've had to sleep. Basically every time you're feeding her, I'm out. I'm gone. Goodbye. See ya. I am asleep. But I haven't had enough sleep. And when I get to this point of feeling this tired, usually I get sick. I need to get sleep. My body is in stress. What's going on there? We're recognizing where the other person's at. We're communicating. We're engaging in stress management. What do? Sometimes you got to take it to God in prayer. You got to ask God. You got to trust God. You got to get help from Him. Other times, you have to let others who are close to you in on your stress and ask for help. So what we did, we called Mom and said, Mom, we're both wiped. Josh is starting not to feel good. We need help. We called a couple other friends. We're like, hey, we need help today so that everybody gets back on a good foot. What's going on there? A family is dealing with stress. They're dealing with that stress, that crisis management. You also have to examine your load and your priorities. This has been a fun one with my wife. Your job, feed the kid, feed yourself, hydrate yourself, sleep. I can wash dishes. I can clean floors and vacuum. It's okay. We will get there when we get there. It'll get done eventually. It's not a high priority in your life right now. Sleep, eat, feed kid. Do that. That is your priorities. Those are things I can't do for you. What's going on there? You're managing stress. Why? Because that's what families do. They come together, they manage the stress. They manage the issues. They work it out. They find their system. It's keys to strong family. It's tools for strong family. E, clearly defined roles. One of the tools for strong family is clearly defined roles. Normally, my wife washes the dishes. Why? Because I'm not that good at it. I'm not that good at it. I don't feel that grease. As soon as I touch something greasy, I can't tell if it's not greasy or greasy anymore. She washes the dishes normally. I cook the food. I like cooking. It's fun. And I don't have to wash the dishes. Find roles. Find what works for you. Find what works for your family. I don't clean glass. Because if I'm trying to clean glass, it always looks worse than when I started. Sorry, honey, the glass is going to look like that until you finally clean the glass. Or you get your mom to come and do it, because I'm not going to make that situation better. But you got to find your roles. You have to know each other. You got to use tools to find that, figure that out. It's one of those key things for families. You also have to practice setting goals. Whether it's learning to ride the bike, whether it's learning to pass a test, whether it's being like Christ. You got to set goals in life. Good families set family goals. My dad always has one at the beginning of his growth plan, which has been the same one for like forever. Growing together. It's one of his goals for the year. Growing together as a family. See, great families, they're built. They're built. God designed family. He gave the original idea of family. He gave us the original pattern of family. The Bible is very clear. There are values that strong families have. And there are tools to build strong families. There are tools to build strong families. We've talked about some of them. Can you probably find a few more? Yeah, maybe. But these are tools to build a strong family. Guess what? You start learning these values and tools from the day you're born, and you never stop. You're always learning. You're always practicing. I always tell the teenagers, practice on your parents. Practice on your siblings. How to have good communication. Practice on them. Because if you practice on them and get good at it, it'll be a lot easier when you get married. It'll be a lot easier when you have a kid. Start practicing on your parents. See, from the beginning all the way up, as we grow, we are constantly learning and developing. We're building our family. And I'm so grateful for all the lessons that my Grandpa Herman taught me over the years. I'm so thankful for all the information and lessons about life that my Grandpa Jim and Grandma Wheezy taught me. I'm thankful for my Grandma Barb and my Papa Joe for all the things that he taught me. Thankful for my parents, all the lessons they taught me. Family, teaching, leading. And there's some things my parents said I wouldn't hear until my grandparents said it. Why? They're part of family. I didn't want to hear from them, but I'd listen to Grandpa Herman. Family, building. So Jesus, God, as we continue talking about family this month, God, I ask that you would help the different families in here. God, as they apply these values and these tools to their relationship. God, I thank you. God, that you help us even in our imperfection. God, we're never going to arrive, but you still are our help. You're still teaching and leading us and growing us. And that's one thing I really want to say to you all. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You just move the ball a little bit further down the field. Just move the ball down the field as far as you can move it. Nobody is going to have a perfect parent. But you as a parent, you as a leader in a family, you're called to move the ball down the field so that your family looks more like the design that Christ had. And as the kid, your job is to learn, to become a successful, functioning adult, to move the ball down the field further than where your parents were able to move it. None of us are perfect. We're all going to make mistakes. But we have help. Christ in each other. So with that, y'all are dismissed. Generational Sunday, which means there's donuts that way, but sadly there's no Boston cream. So as you love on each other, give you a hug and comfort each other with that loss.
Over the mountains and the sea, your river runs with love for me. And I will open up my heart and let the healer set me free. I'm happy to be in the truth, and I will daily lift my hands, for I will always sing of when your love came down.